and placed on all government and public buildings. We place the cause of the Sovereign Republic of Éire under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke and pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it by cowardice, inhumanity and rapine. Signed and sealed under the sovereign seal of the Sovereign Republic of Éire, William James Maguire, President of the Sovereign Republic of Éire, Keeper of the Sovereign Seals and Harps of the Sovereign Republic of Éire. Gora Míle Maith.
Thank you, John. Proclamation.
Now, I think Billy would like me to read the proclamation, would you? Because, of course, this is where, not being a historian, but being amongst great people here today, this was the essence of the sacrifice of the great men and women of our history.
This is what they gave their lives.
This is what they gave their lives.
This is the foundation document of the state, which is so important.
So if you can bear with me. Poblacht na hÉireann, the provisional government of the Irish Republic, to the people of Ireland. Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military organisations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself, she now seizes that moment, and supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying in the first on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished, except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their rights to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years, they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state. And we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to, and thereby claims, the allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious of the differences carefully fostered by an alien government, which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland, and elected by the suffrages of all her men and women, the provisional government, hereby constituted, will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for its people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it by cowardice and inhumanity. In this supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, and by the readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, P.H. Pearce, James Connolly, Tomás McDonagh, Eamon Ceant, Joseph Plunkett. Go to Míle.
Thank you, John.
No, that's at all. You might. I'm just trying to get you to go back. I know you're a young lady, but can you remember any of the stories of Sean Finn that might have been told to you by your father or mother?
Actually, not my father, it's my mother.
Your mother, yes.
Actually, today is her 35th anniversary of her death.
Yes.
And she died on the same day as her brother.
Ah, I see.
Is that interfering?
Yes. No, this is perfect.
The only thing I can remember her growing up as a child telling her them being pulled out of their beds at night when the house would be raided by the Black and Tans looking for him. And he used to escape through an attic into the attic next door and get away. But in the last few months he couldn't come home because he was afraid the family would be raided.
Yes.
And he had a premonition that his end was coming.
And
a new letter has been discovered, an old letter has been discovered recently, which we think is the last letter he wrote to his mother. She never received it.
and from prison, was it?
No, he wasn't in prison.
He wasn't in prison.
Oh no, he was in out.
Commander of the Westland
Brigade. He was out leading. He was leading flying columns.
Yes, and they were so important as well.
Yeah. No, he was never in jail.
Now, what actually happened towards the end of his life? What happened?
I think they were billeted in a house near Glynn, near Lohil.
Yes, Lohil Glynn, that's right.
Where he was shot, because
Yes.
there is a monument there. And as far as I know, they heard that he was afraid. I think it was a family called Danaher
Yes.
that he was billeted in, and a few of his comrades, and they heard the Black and Tans were out and another lot were in trouble, and they went to their aid. And they sent for help, but the help didn't arrive in time, and unfortunately he was mortally shot.
Mortally shot, yes.
Yeah, his uniform is in the library here in Rathkeale, which is called after him. It's there. And I remember even a child even seeing the bullet holes.
God, yes. Does it evoke emotions in you when you are here today and thinking
of course
back?
it does, because there's none of the family living in Rathkeale now.
Yes.
Because that was it, the Finns weren't the marrying kind, only my mother and her eldest sister
Yes.
married. So, and there were only 4 nephews and 2 nieces. I'm one of the nieces.
And you're one of the nieces, yes.
Yeah, that was it. So the family gone.
But
Such. So I figured, that I would try and remember it today.
and you
the day
did,
that was
and you're
it.
doing a great job.
I'm
Yes.
not really, no.
It's lovely
It's
to
not
see.
behalf of the family, really.
It is, yes, but it's so important.
Unless, as they say, lest they be forgotten.
Well, they can't be forgotten. They made the state with all its faults and failings, even today. It's
We
still
won't mention that. Don't
we have.
and roll out a vaccination.
Oh, I know. Yes, yeah. I know, and all of the pros and the cons and everything that's going on. But yet, though, we have a country of freedom in another way.
Exactly.
We can vote, we can protest.
But people forget who responsible for us
Correct.
having that freedom
Yes.
to do these things. I'm always conscious of that fact. I even love reminding my husband and saying, I'm entitled to speak. You're not.
But what's very important is the 1918 32 county election. You never hear of it.
No.
And that's what gave them, that is what we have. And it is extraordinary that Britain, we saw for Brexit and that, they were shouting about, we have a democratically elected government. What was our democratic government, 1918? The 28th of December, I told you the 14th of December,
Yes.
Britain called that election. IRB Sinn Féin won that election by 73 seats out of 105. that's the mandate we have. My family bought Vaughan's Hotel, 29 Parnell Square as the headquarters, and that's what it was for. And that 1918 32 county election is, you know, on the 21st of January then, in the Mansion House, the Sovereign Dáil Éireann, and the Supreme Council met, and it was approved by the Sovereign Dáil Éireann, and it's just shocking that nobody ever remembers that. And Britain doesn't remember. They don't have sovereignty, it's royalty they have. And they went into every country and they robbed
And left a mess behind.
and not, of course, they robbed and plundered. But they don't, it's royalty. Sovereignty comes from God. And if you put your two hands, these are the harp signs. And look, we face the sun. There you are, your five hands. And you put, here's the world. These are the sun ship, the moon ship. You put that over that and look at the harp. And sound box, sun box, all Homo sapiens, and all we have today, all technology comes from that. And you're born in the image of God, and that's where it comes from. And it's shocking that we have this knowledge and information, and we know nothing about it.
Excuse me for interrupting you. There are some people over here that would like to come down.
Oh, well, anybody can come down.
Yes, yeah.
We need to take some photographs from that.
That would be very nice, lovely. Well, a lovely meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't expecting anybody here. I thought we'd come quietly.
I know,
We
yes.
weren't expecting anybody.
Where do you live?
There were people here this morning, and
Where do
when
you
I,
live?
Glenn.
Well, which is near.
Very near.
We actually were down at the time. You remember they redid the spot he was, that monument.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I haven't been there, and I will never forget the cold and the wet and the misery.
Oldest day ever with the wind coming up from the
From the estuary. Oh,
My-
indeed, we're well used to it, I can assure you. Indeed. But thank you indeed for sharing the memories as well. It was lovely and very touching, you know, your
Well, we
personal
grew up
memories.
with it.
Yes, you did.
Yes. You know, although one thing I would say about the Finn family, we were never brought up to be anti-British.
I know that, yes, yes.
No, never.
But I think it's great to have a balanced understanding
Oh yes.
of what went on. And in many ways, this is my own, again, personal opinion. There's an awful lot of the Irish history that's brushed aside, like the engagements of the IRB, not recognised for the bravery and all they did. And even during World War II, it was the IRB members who, with Monsignor Hugh O'Flaherty and others,
yeah.
that saved.
Well, a good Kerry man, because I'm half Kerry, you see, my father.
Ah, yeah, we have to be careful. Ah, yes, yeah,
you know,
well.
well, you're on the borders.
We're
you
on the
understand that.
borders, absolutely.
Yes.
But, you know, we're hoping through our own programmes that the current politicians on all sides, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Labour, that they'll understand that you can't sort of airbrush facts out of history just to suit an agenda. It has to be open for all.
Yeah, well, I'm a historian. I did history.
Ah, well, then I'm talking to the
Yes,
master.
I understand. If you don't know what's gone before, you can't understand the way things are today.
Yes. Well, lovely talking to you,
Thank
and
you,
I
June.
wish
Thank
you
you very
the
much.
very best of luck.
Thank you.
Stay there. Is what's so important is the peace, reconciliation and prosperity process. There is no peace, reconciliation and prosperity process in Ireland. And people don't know that in the Second World War, the Vatican
I know.
was...
O'Flaherty.
Yeah, Hugh
Good
O'Flaherty.
countryman of my own.
Oh, well, there you are. Well, you know that. But T.J. Kiernan, he was the ambassador,
Yes.
and Delia Murphy, his
Yeah,
wife.
they did a lot of work.
And they saved
But I think what was
thousands of
wonderful about
people.
it, yeah, but even at the end when the war was over, a fellow who nearly had Hugh O'Flaherty shot, he visited him in grave in prison, and a German officer,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
converted to Catholicism.
But not only
Just
that,
My
before he died.
goodness.
but Pope Pius XII, he was running the Vatican. Hugh O'Flaherty was running the Vatican,
Yeah.
and I knew him very well. And I knew T.J. Kiernan and Delia Murphy. They used to come to Willowbank, and they brought my father out to Rome in 1950. And Pope Pius XII, he didn't want any violence through